Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Chrono Trigger. I am MegaFreak400, and again, more Black Omen. And here we have a new enemy, Flyclops. I believe they're called Flyclopses. If you charm these guys, you'll get Golden Stud, which will allow you to use 75% less tech points. So this will be definitely good for you, because at this point the final tech points are the final techs for a lot of the characters cost a lot of tech points. So you definitely want to. I don't think they're called tech points, but it costs a lot of. I think it's MP, but whatever. So having that on will definitely be good. It will be good. So you definitely want to have. It's definitely a good equip to have. And here we have these guys who are Cybots. Cybots will, if you charm them, you'll get a power meal from them, and that's about it. They're not that, there's not really anything interesting about them, besides the fact that, again, you can charm a power meal off of them. So yeah, these guys are really great, wait, what am I talking about? No, they're not. They're boring. They do sing a great song, though. So, I want to say right now, I feel bad. I feel really hypocritical and I feel biased. Because for a long time, I was under the impression that Halo was nothing but a mindless shooter. Because that's the way a lot of... oh wait, snakes. Here we have these guys. These guys are... Ruminators. They have... charm them for a Mega Elixir, which is definitely worth it. Mega Elixir will... heal both your HP and your MP, and I believe it will actually fully heal it, so for all your party too, so definitely want Mega Elixir. These guys will eat themselves. They'll eat their own allies when they're weakened, so they're really not that difficult to deal with either. But anyway, yeah, I feel, for a while, because of the way I think, from a lot of what I heard from some fans, the ones who speak out at least, who use the stupid, I always was under the impression that the only thing that was good about Halo was its multiplayer. I never really knew anything about its story, which I feel bad about because I probably should have looked into it. I probably should have known more about it, and I feel like a hypocrite, and, well, I am a hypocrite. I feel really horrible for not even looking into it. One of my friends who was really into Halo basically told me the entire story of the first 3 games, the trilogy, and after listening to the whole thing, my first thought was, wow, I wish it wasn't a first-person shooter because I really want to play the game now. And I say that because I really have tried first-person shooters. I've tried shooters a lot, and they're really hard for me to play. Probably because, the controls. You have 2 control sticks, and that, to me, it's hard for me to play those kind of games. They're not bad games, I just have a hard time enjoying first-person shooters. Rail shooters I like. It's the way that you control the first-person shooter. It's just... I could learn to play it, and if I had Halo, which I don't, my brothers have ODST on their Xbox, but I don't have Halo. But, you know, I probably could try and play it and probably eventually learn it. But I don't know, in the past I've tried multiple shooter games, and I really haven't, you know, got into them or enjoyed them, and I've tried again. I'll probably try again and play more of them. But the story is incredible. It's quite good. It's got a lot of great themes to it. It's got a lot of it provokes your thought. It's very interesting. It's very thought-provoking. And it's a really awesome story. And I didn't expect that from that kind of game, which again is why I'm saying I'm biased. I'm very hypocritical. I didn't expect that to have that, because usually, again, when I hear people talk, they don't talk about the story, because for the most part, the story doesn't interest people. So that's what I get for getting my knowledge from random people. But, you know, that begs the question, why can't more shooter games be like that? I mean, you have... there's tons of generic gray-brown shooters. That's what I've been seeing lately. Halo obviously is not one of them, but there's a ton of shooters, and if you go through those pillars, you will face an enemy, which are these guys. We've already seen them before. But yeah, there are a lot of generic games that just do the same thing, and I wish there was more games like Halo, not necessarily like Halo, but games that were interesting, were creative, and had a great story. Or a great story, or a great anything. I feel story is something that's underrated in games. A lot of, you know, in the past, okay, yeah, we had arcade games, but nowadays we have, I think story should play a bigger part than it has. I mean, there was the whole argument about video games and art being art. I don't think arcade games necessarily can be art. Different elements of each game can be, but when you have a great story on top of everything else, that really does solidify a game being considered art, in my opinion. And it feels like there's nowadays we have a lot of games with story. In the past we didn't. Nowadays we have a lot more story games. But it feels like a lot of people just don't care about the story, and it saddens me. It saddens me that people would rather play a game that is just mindless gameplay with nothing new, as opposed to play. And you could say, well, isn't that what Mario is? Isn't it? Well, to an extent. There's more level design, but I don't play Mario for its story, and I'm not saying you should only play games with story either. That's not it at all. You need balance. Playing a game with only story is like only eating cheese and nothing else on the food pyramid. Only eating dairy products. It's not going to have a good balanced diet. And playing just story games isn't going to be a good balance for games either. At the same time, I don't think you should just play. Personally, I don't think I should play just arcade games either, because I like a little bit of everything, a little bit of a mix. Just arcade games gets boring after a while because they're very repetitive. But at the same time, and the thing with story games though is after you play it the first time, you don't always, except with certain games, and that's another thing. Like, I shouldn't do this, but I kind of gonna go back to yesterday with Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I felt emotion after watching the entire thing. I knew the entire plot, but I still felt emotion after the movie because it was a really well told story. And Mother 3, I feel is the same way. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but Mother 3 I think is a really great game that does a great job of telling its story. And when you play it again, you still feel emotion for it. So I think it depends on the story. A lot of times, usually the first time you play the game, the story matters, and afterwards it doesn't. So at the same time, just because you should have a good story, I'm not saying skip on the gameplay. The gameplay should be great as well. Because if it's just the story, then you might as well just be writing a book or a flip book and put it on DSiWare like 50,000 times. And that some of the apps on DSiWare are just kind of annoying me. Because I'm right on the Blarg Pit. I write in weekly Nintendo download update thing. Blarg Pit being the website that CSS is a part of. It's the home of CSS, and a part of it's a community. I'm a part of this Blarg Pit community, or yeah, I guess you could call it that. Here we have some treasure chests, and we have new shopkeepers. I think, yeah, here they are. You can buy You can talk to the right one. He will let you leave the Black Omen. I don't know why you would want to leave at this point, but yeah, if you felt like leaving, you could leave. So here, this guy will let you leave if you want to awaken from this dream. And the left one will sell you some items that are pretty useful. Actually, no, they're not. They're decent items, I guess. There's just some heals. That's all there are. Some healing items, non-weapons. You can buy some non-weapons here. Let's continue onwards, and over here we have Okay, yeah, right here we have a Hecarim recolored sprite. This guy is a tubester, and you want to kill the tubester. The tubester, if you charm him, you get a power tap. I don't know about all of them, but particularly this one. You can leave the room, come back, he will reappear. You have infinite power taps. You can infinitely get power taps. I didn't because I was, lazy. I didn't really feel like just going to this guy. Plus, it's kind of cheap. I didn't want to get too many power tabs because that'll make all the other bosses really easy, or somewhat easy. But yeah, this guy, you can get infinite power tabs from him technically, so he's a really great source of power tabs. It depends on how long you want to be going after him, but he does have a strong counter attack, so you want to make sure to basically finish him off in one hit. And I'm just showing you I was charming him several times to get the power tabs from him, because he is a great source of power tabs. But yeah, that's the thing with and that's the thing is like I guess I want story, but at the same time I want good gameplay, and you want to have a good balance between both sometimes, but sometimes you don't always need it either. Like Mario, I don't feel needs a story, and it's still a great game without the story. So to say that every game needs a story, no, that's not fair at all to say. That's not an accurate statement to make personally. But what I do think that there needs to be less, generic games that are just the same thing over and over again. I feel Mario does enough changing up of it, and plus the recent games were based on nostalgia. Most of his games beforehand weren't. You had Sunshine, you had various stuff, and then you had some of these nostalgia games. Now at this point, I feel they should probably maybe do something new. But Galaxy was kind of new in its own way with its planet hole rotation thing. Granted, people could say, well, Galaxy 2 was just the same thing. And I agree. I think it was worth doing, though, because I thought of it more of just like an extension of it. It's similar to Majora's Mask, except for it didn't do nearly as much. Like, with Majora's Mask, it took the same engine of Zelda. It had the same gameplay. But I guess with Majora's Mask, they changed up Ocarina of Time's game engine. They made it wasn't at all like Majora's Mask, whereas with Galaxy, it's almost exactly the same as Super Mario Galaxy. Galaxy 2, that is almost exactly the same as Galaxy. So, I almost feel you could have said it was like, you could have made it 2 episodes. Like, they're both one in the same game. Like, just make it, you could have 2 games, but they're very similar, and it's more like almost like an expansion on the first game. It's not like it's a new game necessarily as it is, again, an expansion. So if they're gonna make a Galaxy 3, if they make a Galaxy 3, it should definitely be different, or they shouldn't make it at all, because they've done 2 Galaxies. Galaxy sold well, and Galaxy 2 also sold well. At this point, I think it's worth trying something new. This whole fall I'm gonna be looking forward to it, with tons of Donkey Kong Country Returns, and then there's Epic Yarn, both of which look really great, and I definitely will be buying those at some point. But yeah, I guess the question you have to ask yourself is, are you feeling Monkey Punk? No, but seriously, the question you have to ask yourself is, or a question I think people have to ask themselves are, when does... I think a lot of people they complain way too much about what they want. I think a lot of times there are valid complaints, but I think a lot of times there are invalid complaints as well. I think a lot of people tend to worry about... They tend to worry about... they worry about too much... They worry about... I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically I feel like the major complaint I can say that is worth saying is I don't think game companies should be doing the same thing over and over again and copying other game companies. There's a lot of game companies that just do what other game companies are doing just to make money, and when it's just making money, that's when you have problems. I think that money should not be the main focus, personally. I do apologize for kind of losing my train of thought there. Here we have another tubester, so definitely charm this guy. But yeah, and like I said, after hearing that whole story about Halo's story, I really am interested in playing Halo. It really sounds like, I don't necessarily know about the gameplay, but it really sounds like an interesting story. And I guess the thing is, the story can make you want to play a game. Whereas with music, I think music is really important in the whole mood of the game. But I don't necessarily know if I play a game just for music. I play a game for story, but I'm not necessarily sure I would play a game for music. Gameplay and story are both things I would play a game for, but music is a thing that I feel like if it's lacking, it really does affect the game. But it's not necessarily a thing that I think would make me want to play a game. So I guess that's the point of this: is story is actually really quite important, and I feel. The fact that Halo does have a really good story, and I learned about it, I do want to play it, even though I even know the whole story. It does get me interested in playing Halo. But that's about all that I have. All the time I have has been Mega Freak 400, reminding you that pasta is made of pasta.